was important for a lot of businesses. But now that you guys are here and you're either catching this on the live, you're catching on the replay, you're in one of usually three places, right? The first place is that you have an agency, you have some sort of service-based business, you have current clients, and you're looking to scale your agency, right? You're looking to scale your business. That could be one possibility. A lot of people, though, are not established businesses. They're looking to get started. They're looking to find out, what are they going to sell? What are they going to offer? Who are they going to offer it to? And so if you're in that place, that's okay too, right? A lot of people are very early on in their journey. And then obviously, if you are like Simon and you're looking for an opportunity to add more revenue sources, to add more income sources, well, obviously these systems, these tools, these applications, when put together for a business, can be their own new service, right? What's really, really cool is that we are creating right now on this call, people like me, you, John, Chris, Ramesh, we are creating a totally new service, right? If you think about it, in the 90s, well, I'd say, let's see, in the 2000s, every business needed a website, right? In the 2010s, every business needed a social media account. Well, in the 2020s, every business is gonna need a chatbot. And the thing is that chatbots, or excuse me, and it's not even chatbots, let's talk about it as automated sales systems. And I went back into my old way, right? Because chatbots were my entrance into these automated systems. But if you think about how a chatbot evolves, the next step is now when a chatbot is able to call you. The next step is when your chatbot is able to take information and then it's able to follow up via email, right? When everything is, syndicated and integrated, that's going to be when it really hits a critical mass. Not to mention when these things integrate with, your Amazon Echoes and all of your smart devices and things. And so all of this to say that right now, this sales system that we are creating, the ability to link and interconnect all of these different interfaces through text message, through voice, through email, through calls, through chatbots, through websites, all of that stuff in and of itself is creating its own service. And so I'm just excited about that opportunity for all of you guys who are here listening to this, because it's a very good opportunity for you. It's a very good time as well. So Johanna wants to sell products with it. So I'm curious, Johanna, if you could let us know what types of products specifically, if they're info or physical, that would be really helpful. Now, before I hit the record button, I mentioned that this training, the outline is really three things, right? There's really three things that you need to understand in order to implement these systems. And the first is how to contact your leads while you're still asleep, so that you can still be creating new conversations at all times. The second thing is the easy way to get people to pay you thousands of dollars when you suck at sales. And so I know a lot of people are newer at sales and they are drawn to the marketing world, and they're drawn to the internet world because it allows them to avoid face-to-face rejection, right? But the challenge is that when you're building an agency, when you're building a service-based business, people are a part of that process. And so we're going to show you the easy way to kind of get around that so that you can, if you will, hack the rejection process. And then we'll just talk about some easy things that you can do every day to get more clients in less time. Now, this is a training I mentioned that is going to be designed for you. There's a few people who, quite a few people who have hopped on live, and I appreciate you guys just hopping on now and just trusting that I'm going to deliver some value. I honestly had no idea what we were going to talk about today, other than I prepared this outline, last week. And so the reason I say that is I really want to encourage you to ask questions. When people ask questions, not only does it light a fire in me, and it really just gets me excited to answer a question, but it also shows, it also makes the training more relevant, right? And it also shows me exactly what you guys need to learn and exactly what I'm not covering, so that you guys can really go out and implement this into your business. Because by the end of this training, you should be able to go out there and you should be able to run searches. You should be able to contact your leads. You should be able to qualify them automatically. And then you should, by this weekend, by next week, your pipeline should be full, right? Like it can absolutely, in a matter of minutes, turn your whole business around, just by running a few campaigns on RoboContact. So it's all that to say, I want to encourage you guys to ask questions, because it's going to make it, it's going to be so much more valuable for you, especially given the fact that you're here in your time. So you guys can unmute yourself, or you can throw it in the chat, and feel free to cut me off at any time as well. So let's talk about the one thing that your business is probably missing. And if you guys haven't heard this story, then you just haven't been on any recent training, but I'll share it again. And it's some of the best advice I've ever gotten from, frankly, one of the worst mentors I've ever had. And it stuck with me today. And the only reason I say he was one of the worst mentors is he just ended up being a huge asshole. But it doesn't matter. Just one thing stuck with me. Here's what it was. I remember being on a conversation and on a phone call with him, and I was totally struggling, right? Like, I was like, the agency, or my brand new sales business was absolutely in like really struggling, really failing. Like, we were in the tanks, and I was debating whether or not I was good enough and I could do this whole like business thing, like whether I could be an entrepreneur, whether I was good enough to run a business, whether I was capable of it. And so I was looking for all of these answers, and I noticed that, I was getting a few clients, but those clients weren't really paying me a whole lot of money. They weren't paying me enough to really thrive. And then some of them weren't sticking around long enough for me to they weren't sticking around long enough for me to really like grow. It was like, I'd get some clients and they'd go leave, and I get some and they leave. And I remember asking, like, how do I get my clients to pay me more? His name was Dave. I said, Dave, like, what do I do to make more money? What do I do to get my clients, my customers, to stick around longer and keep working with me? And he says, you just need more clients. And I'm like, no, okay, Dave, okay, yes, but these clients aren't paying me enough, and like, they're not paying me enough to even like stay open and keep the lights on, and they're not sticking around long enough for me to really like build anything sustainable. He says, Hector, you just need more clients. You need to take more shots at the basket. You're not giving yourself a chance to get better. You're not giving yourself a chance to improve. You're not giving yourself enough shots at the basket to make a few of them. You can't expect in business to convert 100% of everything that you do. And so it's really, really important that you are taking as many shots as possible. He said, Hector, in business, nobody remembers the shots that you miss. They only count the shots that you make. And the great thing is that you can take as many shots as you want. It's just about taking the shot. And so it kind of hit me, because I was spending all of this time learning. I was spending all of this time like growing and trying to improve my abilities and my skills, which are no doubt important. But I was forgetting about the most important part, which was actually doing the outreach. I was forgetting about actually making the contacts with customers. I was forgetting about filling my pipeline with potential leads and potential clients. And so the reason I say this is most businesses just don't give them a big enough chance to succeed. They don't give them enough shots at the basket to really succeed. And there's lots of things in front of it. Like, there's lots of challenges in front of this, right? But Hector, what about the time, right? It takes a lot of time to do this, right? I have to work on client project. I have to work on all this other stuff. Well, yeah, absolutely, right? So that's why we now have systems that when we click a few buttons, right? Or we click a few buttons on RoboContact, and you guys don't know what RoboContact is, let me know and we can kind of do a little demo for you here. But we click a few buttons on RoboContact, and then literally from that moment, everything I can set in motion. I can go out and collect the names, phone numbers, email addresses, Facebook pages, LinkedIn accounts, Instagram accounts, Pinterest accounts, of all the businesses in my particular niche in a given area. I could send that information to Zapier. I can call those people. I can text those people. I can email those people. And I can do all of that without doing any of it, right? It literally takes a few buttons and then all of those things happen in the background. So that's why we talk about, how to create and how to have a system that works while you're sleeping, right? And let's see. Whoops. So that first aspect of it is like having leads being generated while you're asleep, while you're doing other stuff. So if you have a 9-to-5 job, you can still go out there and make sales. If you're working on client projects, so that you don't have to be manually sending all of the messages all over the time, right? This was a huge thing for us because when I was in sales, I hired a sales team. I literally hired, at one point I had over 15 employees, 15 like receptionists reporting to me, and over 100 sales reps reporting like directly to me, pretty much. I had some middle managers, but essentially they were reporting to me, and that was, oh my goodness, there was a ton of revenue. We did 3 years in a row, close to 1.5 million. Over those 3 years, we did just over 5 million in sale. Actually, about 3.5 years, we did about over 5 million in revenue. We were the #1 organization in the nation. We had over 2,000 people join our team over the course of that time. It was a really like power. I don't know. It was a ton of growth. There was a ton of things happening, but man, it was a lot of headaches. And it also wasn't that much profit because yes, we did 5 million in revenue, but I mentioned we had 2,000 people on our team that helped out. And because back then we didn't have things like text and bulk, because back then we didn't have things like RoboContact, in order to create these large amount of sales, we had to pay people. We had to actually hire people and bring people on to our team to go out there and do it for them. And the thing is, that costs money, that costs time, that costs resources, that costs supplies, that costs training, that costs all these different things. Not to mention that people have drama, people are lazy, people are emotional, people are inconsistent. I feel like I'm not painting a very good picture of people here, but my point is that RoboContact, it never gets tired. RoboContact doesn't have an off day. RoboContact doesn't get nervous or upset that the last person they sent the email to didn't like it. RoboContact just works, right? And it's great because now we don't have to rely on those people to really scale our agency. There's a business, a influencer, whatever you want to call, an influencer, I don't know what you would call them, an expert out there. And it's really funny. I can't say it's funny. Well, it's funny to me. It's funny what he's telling people to do, because he's basically sending them down a death trap. He's basically sending them down this this path that, yes, can lead to lots of revenue. And he's sending them down this path that, yes, can lead to lots of sales, but ultimately is not going to be very effective in creating a better lifestyle and adding more profit and adding more happiness to a business. And so what he's telling people, I'll share it with you, is he's telling people to hire a massive sales team. He's telling people to hire a massive sales organization. He's telling people to literally create essentially virtual call centers like this, where you have 30 VAs all over the nation, all over the world, that are making phone calls for you. And so here's what his day is. He wakes up in the morning, he talks to maybe a couple of his clients or whatever, but then he is literally checking in with every single phone caller, every single, what they call him, is appointment setter that he has. And don't get me wrong, is there a time and place to have appointment setters, and do those people have value? For sure. But what if instead of having 30 people that you had to follow up with, what if you just had to go into one system, one software, one database, you just had to log into RoboContact, and RoboContact could essentially replace the 30. Because what are those people doing? Those 30 people are making cold calls. Those 30 people are sending out cold messages. Those 30 people are reaching out cold to these businesses, trying to spark up some sort of sales conversation. And so the reason I say that is just, reason I get so passionate is because there are other people who are telling you, hey, here's the way to scale. And it's like, yeah, man, you could get more clients, you can get more revenue, but it's going to be just as much of a headache, if not more. And it's not necessarily going to result in there maybe being more profit, because you have to pay all of these people and you have to spend all of this time managing this whole workforce. And so what we want to do is we want people to be able to generate leads, you know, while they're sleeping. And so that's why we have RoboContact. That's why we have text in bulk. So that's the big thing. What's up, Evan? Thanks for hopping on. This is an all over the place training. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm just fucking rambling here. So if you guys are getting value out of it, man, I would, that's great. If you're not, ask a question and let's direct this training a little bit more, and let's hone in and focus, because I just wanted to do the training because starting next week, we're going to be doing more live trainings and masterminds. And I told myself that if I was going to start doing more next week and I didn't do one this week, then it would never happen. So I just said, hey, we're going to see who wants to come in and hang out, learn about this stuff, ask questions, and you know, go from there. So we're here. You guys are here. I'd love for you guys to get the most out of your time by asking questions and engaging the training in a way that, you know, is relevant to you. But otherwise, I'll just get little clips in here that I can use for myself.